Have you ever met someone who treated you well? Consistent, kind, emotionally available, and your first thought was, he's nice, but something's missing? Or worse, he's boring? What if boring isn't the problem? What if it's the first sign of safety? Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beloved. Today we are talking about why healthy relationships often feel dull after emotional chaos, how father wounds wire us to confuse intensity with intimacy, why safety can feel unattractive before we heal, how to discern peace from disinterest, and why choosing boring may actually be choosing freedom. This isn't about settling, it's about relearning what love actually feels like. Many of us didn't grow up with calm, safe love. We grew up with inconsistency, emotional absence or volatility, criticism, fear or control, having to earn affection, or love that simply felt conditional or unpredictable. So when we encounter someone steady, someone who communicates clearly, doesn't disappear, doesn't provoke anxiety, our nervous system doesn't recognize it as love. It recognizes it as unfamiliar. And unfamiliar often gets labeled as boring. So why does boring feel unattractive when you have father wounds? 1. Chaos trained your nervous system. If your early attachment was unpredictable, your body learned to associate adrenaline with connection, anxiety with closeness, emotional highs and lows with intimacy. So when someone doesn't trigger insecurity, make you chase, or keep you guessing, your nervous system reads that as there's no spark. But what you're actually missing is stress, not chemistry. 2. You confuse intensity with intimacy. Intensity feels like fast bonding, emotional roller coasters, dramatic vulnerability, or push-pull dynamics. But intimacy is built slowly, quietly, and consistently. Healthy love doesn't spike cortisol, it builds trust. And trust feels flat when you're used to chaos. 3. Safety doesn't activate old survival roles. In unhealthy dynamics, you may have learned to overfunction, fix, rescue, or manage emotions, prove your worth, or stay hypervigilant. A healthy man doesn't need you to perform, and that can feel purposeless, unexciting, and disorienting because you're no longer needed in survival mode. What does boring actually look like? Boring often means consistency, emotional regulation, reliability, honesty, follow through, calm conflict resolution, and respect for boundaries. In other words, boring means peaceful. And peace feels quiet when your body is used to noise. God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. Was taken from 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. Here's a biblical perspective on why peace is fruit and not a flaw. Scripture never describes love as chaotic. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4-5, love is described as patient, kind, not self-seeking, and not easily angered. James chapter 3, verse 17 tells us, the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy. Peace is not the absence of passion. It's the presence of safety. And safety is what allows love to deepen over time. As you heal, your tolerance for chaos decreases. Your nervous system recalibrates. You stop chasing what hurts. You stop mistaking anxiety for desire. And suddenly, boring becomes grounding, attractive, relieving, and trustworthy. And drama becomes exhausting. This isn't settling, this is maturity. How can you discern then peace from true disinterest? Ask yourself the following questions. Do I feel calm or numb? Do I feel safe or indifferent? Is my body relaxed or shut down? Am I bored or just not anxious? Healing doesn't erase attraction, it refines it. Sometimes you don't feel fireworks because your nervous system is no longer on fire. Here are the reflection or journaling prompts for today's episode. What kind of love was modeled to me growing up? What emotions do I associate with attraction? Have I ever mistaken anxiety for chemistry? How does my body feel around safe people? What would it look like to choose peace over intensity? And today's affirmation is, I'm learning to recognize safety as attractive. Peace is not boring, it's healing. And I choose relationships that bring rest, not confusion. The key verse from today is, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, and peace. That's taken from Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. Peace is fruit, not a compromise. Choosing the boring guy isn't about lowering your standards. It's about raising them. It's choosing stability over adrenaline, consistency over chaos, peace over performance, and healing over familiarity. And sometimes the healthiest love doesn't feel exciting at first because it finally lets your nervous system rest. That's not boredom, that's freedom. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and Substack, especially if you'd like to be notified whenever there's a new episode or new resources become available. And if you would like access to the full transcript with the reflection prompts, Bible verses, etc. And don't forget, you can also listen on all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Until next time, stay rooted in truth, wrapped in grace, and never forget you are beloved.